Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have some journals to share with you guys. These are going to be available on my website. I'll have all of the information in the description box for the sale, so if you want to know the date and the time that they're going to be available, make sure you just check out the description box for those details. So I have here 3 big soft cover journals, and then I also have 5 little mini journals. I'm going to put them all up at the same time, so it'll be like a little bit of a bigger sale than what I've been able to do recently. So I did soft covered journals for this little collection, and I was really inspired by both Moonside Parlour and Penny and Rose Paperie. I'll link both of them down below, but I've really been loving the fabric collaged covers they do, and I wanted to have a little play at that myself. I've been wanting to do for a while some cooking themed sort of journals, so I'll put the minis aside for a minute. So we have 3, this one, and this one. They're all made the same way, they all are the same size. So they measure approximately 9.5 by 6.5, between 6.5 and 7 inches. So they're a nice size. I didn't really want to do like a TN size, I wanted to do something a little bit bigger, and I also did them with 2 signatures. So that just disperses the pages a little bit more, and I think it will allow you to be able to add a lot more inside them before they get too bulky. And the good thing about soft covers is that they do sort of bend and shape to however much you put in here, so you can really like bulk them out and make them really nice and round and full of stuff. So even though these are cooking themed, I wanted the cover to be really pretty and sort of something you could potentially pass down. I know that with food and cooking, it's something that can be very like traditional, like you can have traditions within it, and you can have culture within it, and it can be very meaningful in families. And so I wanted it to be like a bit of an heirloom piece. So on the fronts here, we have these little utensil charms, and I just put on one of these little clips. And as you can see, it's just attached around the closure there, and you can actually just take the whole pin off, and then you can take these off the cover if you don't want them there. The option is there, and I just thought they were really cute little charms. So this cover, I'll show you one here. It has like nice warm yellowy orange tones, and it's also got some green tones. Someone's just started mowing their grass, and I'm just going to keep going because usually whenever I think something's really loud, whenever I'm editing the video, it doesn't even sound that loud, so hopefully it's not too distracting. So the base of all the covers is Craft Tex, which is like a card that has fabric sort of properties to it, so it's very flexible, it's very strong, and it kind of works a bit like leather. So that's what I've used for the base, and then I've just stitched all little bits and pieces of fabric and trims over the whole cover. So that's the back. And then for the closure, I just stitched on this sort of ribbony stuff. On the front, I put 2 buttons on it, which allows me to put this little pin in between. And then on the back, there's again the same thing without the buttons. So you can tie this in a bow, or you could wrap it around the journal as well if you wanted to. So, but yeah, it just offers a nice little closure. As I said, I did 2 signatures for each book, and that way you can really bulk this up, and this can sort of fill out, the spine can become wider. And for the signatures, I actually put eyelets into the cover itself, and then I just sewed inside the eyelets. And you can also see from the side here the little tabs sticking out of the side of the book. So there's like lots of little fabric and lace tabs. There's also these little tabs. They're not actually attached to the page, so I liked the way they looked hanging out, especially if you want to use this for cooking, but I also wanted to have the option of making it less of a cookbook theme if you just wanted to use it for something else. So that's just paper clipped onto a page. So there is that one. And then I'll show you this blue one up close. So again, same thing, just lots of different vintage fabrics and trims, little bits and pieces all stitched and collaged together. Same thing with the little charms, you can remove that if you want to, and then the buttons on the closure. 2 signatures, and then there's the back of the book. And I love how these feel in your hands. Because they're a soft cover, it's always nice to do something a little bit more tactile. So I really like how they feel. And then you can see all the little tabs of this one as well. So same thing, fabric tabs and trim and lace. And then those little cards are just paper clipped to the page. Then the last one is pink. There's lots of pink tones. So again, same thing with all the fabrics just put together. This was a piece that came with my journal that I got from Penny and Rose. And so I wanted to include that on this one because it's got the pretty pink tones. And same thing with the closure and the charms. And then there is the back of it. And then again, same thing with the tabs. So this one's got lots of pretty lace and stuff hanging out of the book. They each have a little drawstring bag as well. I haven't put the strings in yet to make them a drawstring bag, but there's this blue one. I think I'll put the blue journal in there. I'll probably put the pink one in the pink floral, and then I'll put this yellowy one in the orangey. So now to show you inside, I'm wondering if I can sort of show you side by side so you can see the differences. So inside the covers, they all have a different print, like a different patterned paper, and then they all have a vintage envelope glued inside, and then inside that there's a little library card, a little blank library card, so you can write whatever you like about the book. And then throughout the books there's a nice combination of papers. So I've used lots of scrapbook papers, I've also used lots of vintage papers. There's ledger paper. I've also done a little bit of collage work with the vintage like recipe clippings and some vintage ledger paper and stuff like that. So there's lots of room to write and glue things. It is very cookbook themed or food themed, but I think it's pretty enough that you could also sort of use it for whatever you like. There's some bits and pieces that are paper clipped onto the page. So there's like pockets that are sewn onto the page that have vintage recipe cards, and a lot of the pockets are actually made out of handwritten vintage recipes, which is really cool. I just realized I'm going back to front. I hope you don't mind, that's kind of weird, but I just wanted to give you like a glimpse at all the pages rather than go like every single page because there's so many books to get through. But there's like lots of vintage recipe, handwritten recipes, and there's also like little recipe booklets and stuff that you can take out. There's a little pocket there, a pocket here. This is a little coin envelope. It's got, I think it's got some labels inside. I've used some of that beautiful Farm Meadow Craft Consortium paper. There's a pocket here with bits and pieces. This is a pocket here. And then there's also some stuff paper clipped onto the page. Again, more stuff paper clipped onto the page. I always like to leave the pages blank enough for you to use however you like, but then I also want to sort of demonstrate what it will look like when you use it as well. So all the little bits and pieces sort of show you how it's going to look filled up. But I always like to try and give you the freedom to move things around as you like, or take things out if you want to. So lots of fun vintage ephemera tucked throughout each book. This little piece up there on a paper clip. Here. There's also pockets within a lot of the pages as well. This is like a little fold out sheet. Oop. So this is like a little fold out sheet. There's some vintage writing paper, little vintage recipe clipping, flashcards, more bits and pieces. There's a pocket here. So this is vintage wallpaper. There's another one of those vintage recipes and a vintage recipe clipping. And a lot of the recipe clippings were so thin and fragile that I just glued and stitched them onto the page and just like collaged on the blank side of the page. So any scrapbook paper that I had that had a white side, or most of the pages that had a white side, I do like a collage with scraps of paper and vintage paper. Pocket there with some stuff tucked inside. Pocket there, big pocket there. I love this tapey aging to the paper. Pocket there. Lots of fun bits and pieces, so that actually pulls out. And yes, so that's pretty much what they all look like. I will give you a glimpse inside the other two as well. So the blue one, same thing, just a variation of papers. So these are like little stickers, handwritten recipes, it's a fold out sheet there. They all have one of those. Little pocket down the bottom, stuff paper clipped onto the page, some collaging with the vintage recipe clippings, little bits and bobs that you can take off and play with, some vintage papers, more of the same stuff. This is a pocket up the top. These are really cool. So they all get, there's two of those with different vegetables on them in each book. Little vintage recipe card. Beautiful handwritten recipes throughout the book. This is some vintage wallpaper, little notepaper tucked inside. This one has a little scrap of this chicken paper that I illustrated. This is a printable in my shop. And then there's just a little bit of collaging down the bottom of the page. Some writing on some ledger there, included in the pocket. You can pull this in and out again. Just really fun bits and pieces. Lots and lots of vintage ephemera, real vintage ephemera, nothing's been scanned or anything like that. Recipe cards, there's another one of those little seed packets. Some more of the same stuff. This is a pocket here, just some little bits and pieces inside. These are some more of those clippings. These ones I just put loose on a little paper clip so you can stick them wherever you like. It's just some really cool vintage ephemera inside these journals. It's a little fold out page. Same sort of stuff. So that's the blue one. So same stuff again. I tried to keep these journals really usable, so even though they have a lot of stuff going on and a lot of interest to the pages, you can still use each page however you like. I didn't want to sort of fluff them out too much. I wanted to make sure there was still room for you to use it however you like. But even though it looks busy, you can still put like photos and stuff on top of these pages and you can still use them just like scrapbook paper. So I think they're still really usable. There's a pocket there, little bits and bobs. One of those beautiful seed packets. Love this vintage paper. Some writing paper. There's a pocket in here. So this is an example of a white page that I've collaged. So the back side of this paper was all white and then I just stitched like scraps of paper onto it. There's like a vintage recipe I turned into a pocket and then I just pieced bits and pieces of paper on top so that it didn't look all stark white on the back. This is a pocket up the top there. Beautiful vintage blue paper. Little bits and pieces there. There again. Really cool little vintage booklet with different recipes inside. And then just some other fun little bits and pieces tucked inside that pocket there. And then these were from, I can't think of what they're called, but it was like, it's like a little sheet that has these vintage, I think they're like scrapbook, like vintage scrapbook elements. So it was like a page of vegetables and I cut them out and I just glued them throughout the books. So just to embellish the pages a little bit. So that's really fun. And this is a pocket here. I love these handwritten recipes. Such a cool touch. Pocket here. This is a fold out page. Beautiful ledger paper. So that is the yellow one. So those are the cookbooks. as I said, there's 3 of them that are going to be available. They're nice and big. You can really chunk them out. They've got lots and lots of vintage ephemera inside them. So there's those 3. Because most of my restocks lately I've just been doing like 2 or 3 journals, I really wanted to have a bit more to offer, and so following that inspiration with the soft covers, I wanted to do some little minis, and I love how these turned out. I think they're so cute. So I've just created these little paper bags for them to go in. This one I just tied some seam binding around just to show you sort of how I'm gonna like close this up when they come, but the rest of them are just open, so they'll have, I don't know, they'll tie something around them and make them look a little bit pretty like this. But these are just altered paper bags, and this is what the little mini journals will come in, and I think it's so cute. So I took these little brown paper bags and they had some handles on them, so the handles are like attached on the inside. I took the handles off, and then they actually had like an expanding bottom so they kind of like came out like this. And what I did first was I stitched all these scraps from the pages. So these are scraps from the pages of the minis, and I just stitched them as best I could. It was really hard to maneuver this through the sewing machine because this is already a made paper bag, so it was kind of hard to do that. So I stitched along here and along here on the front and also on the back, and then once I did that, I put it through an embossing folder. So the embossing folder reached to about here, and then on the end was like the little boxy bit on the end. Let me see if I still have it to show you what I mean. I do, I still have the bits. They're in my recycling. Okay, so these are the handles that I took off, and then this is like the bottom of the bag. So they were like this on the end, like this, that makes sense. So they were like that, and then once I embossed it, I also sewed along the bottom here to close the bag at the bottom, and then I just cut off the boxy bit at the end. And the reason I did that was because the little minis fit perfectly in this end of the bag, like really nice and snug. And then just to decorate the bag a little bit more, on the back I just glued this vintage doily onto each bag, and then I just added a bit more stitching along the bottom to make sure it wasn't going to come off. Just wrapped the doily around the front, and I just thought that was a really cute little touch to send them in. And because I had all these little scraps from the pages, I didn't want to waste them, and I wanted to use them in the packaging. So that is sort of what they look like. They're all a little bit different, but there is 5 minis that will be available. So let me take them out and show you. But inside the bags you have your mini, and then you also have in the front, because there's kind of like 2 sections, so you have your mini in the back. Pull this guy out, and then in the front you have like a little wallpaper pocket, so they come tucked in there nice and snug. And in the wallpaper pocket you just get a nice little variety of ephemera to play with, so like mini bits of ephemera. So they all have the same sort of selection of stuff. Obviously it differs a little bit from each pack, but they all have like the same thing. So they have a plain card, they have a little piece of this floral paper, one of these little transparencies, a vintage photo, a little coin envelope, just like some scrapbook paper ephemera, little mini postcard, little index card, small little bags and pockets, a black shimmery metallic envelope, and a nice big journal card. So I think they have like 12 little bits and pieces in the bags, and I tried to keep the ephemera nice and itty bitty so that you can actually use it inside the journal if you want to, and then you can also use the little wallpaper pocket. So you get one of those, and then the minis, they're so cute. I'm going to pull them all out and show you the difference. So there they are, there's 5 of them. The inspiration for these journals is kind of funny. So the inspiration kind of came from this and the reason why it came from this was because this is from my kids' Lego, obviously. I just thought the size of this little Lego book was so cute, like so cute in your hands, and it inspired me to make the little minis in this orientation instead of this way. So I just think it's a really nice cute little size to have in your hands. I also have this vintage autograph book. It's actually been sort of passed through my family, so it's pretty special, and it's this little autograph book that has handwriting and quotes and stuff, like advice pieces from family and friends, so I thought that was really special. And this has the same sort of size and orientation as the minis, so that also was a little bit of inspiration for these. So as you can see, these are all soft cover as well. They all have a fabric collage going on, just sort of slightly different color schemes. And the theme for these guys is floral, so lots and lots of different floral fabrics on the covers. And then inside the pages are all the patterned scrapbook papers that I chose are florals as well. So let me show you inside these. I'll just give you a quick little close-up. So again, the base of the book is Craftex, and then I just stitched on top of that, and then inside each the lining is this vintage wallpaper. So inside you get a nice little selection of papers. As I said, all of the scrapbook papers are different floral prints, and then there's some craft paper, there's some vintage book pages, some pretty blue paper. This is a flashcard. So all the scrapbook paper is floral. Oops. There's this envelope that I just trimmed and it becomes like a little pocket. So there's like some vintage game pieces in here. I tried to just put really small little bits of ephemera inside the pockets. There's these beautiful butterfly book pages. And then every now and again there's like a little pocket. So there's a little pocket along the side there on the cream paper. Just lots of pretty patterns. Pocket there. More butterflies. Beautiful floral scrapbook paper. Little pocket there with a little paper doll dress. A little mini postcard. Some beautiful vintage paper. So birds and butterflies. And then there's like a little piece of an index card, little playing card in there. Just really, really sweet. So you could use them as little autograph books like the one I just showed you. You could put some photos and stuff in here as well, like little mini photos. Someone else said they reminded them of a brag book, like a vintage baby brag book. I think they'd be cute just for writing, like writing little notes. They're not really embellished, but I feel like the pages look really pretty all together. So I feel like you don't really need to do much to them. I feel like they're kind of pretty the way that they are. So there is that one, little pink one. Then we have the blue one. I'll just flick through the rest of them a little bit quicker because they all have the same sorts of stuff. So pockets with little bits and pieces tucked in here and there, floral papers, different pretty floral papers and vintage papers. They all have the little envelope pocket. Just really pretty selection of patterns. Oops, stay in there. So there's the blue one. We got this one. This one's got greens and yellows and a little pop of blue. Oh, did I show you the back? That's the back of the blue one. And that's the back of the pink one. That's the back of this one. And then again, same thing inside. So wallpaper, and then pretty vintage papers and new papers, floral papers, just really cute. It just feels so nice in your hands, this size, and because it's fabric, it just feels so nice and soft. Then we have these two have really vibrant like greens and reds. So this one's got this really pretty purple and orange fabric, and then this is like the focal point. There's the back, and then again, just give you a quick little glimpse inside the pages. They're all very, very, very similar inside, so I don't feel like I need to show you like every single page. Just lots of pretty florals. They all have the same ephemera tucked inside as well, pretty much. And then the last one, this one's a little bit different because it's got the fabric is all going downways instead of as mismatchy or like collagey as these ones. I just wanted to sort of play around with the different designs and do something different for each book. So this one is a little bit more simple, but it also has lots of really vibrant colours. So even though the design of the fabric's more simple, I feel like it still has a lot going on just because of the colours that it has. This pretty little embroidery, and then again, same stuff. So floral papers, vintage papers, pockets, little bits of ephemera here and there, flash card, and wallpaper lined. And each one has the bag and the little wallpaper pocket with ephemera. So that is my release, or my little collection this time around. So I'm excited because there's more to offer. Even though they're minis, there's more of a chance that you can get something because there's more available. So 5 minis and 3 bigger journals. As I said, if you want to catch the restock, I'll have the information in the description box so you can check it out. And I sell my journals on my website, not my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop is for digitals. So make sure you also check out the link to my website. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I've been making. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.